All right. Hey, everyone. Cool. Just getting settled with this YouTube live thing. Thank you for joining me today. All right. Giving people a little bit of time to start, and then we can get started. Cool. Hi, I'm Ellen Sue, and I am the Titmouse recruiter, and I want to help you improve your chances of getting a job. If you're not familiar with Titmouse, we make cartoons. We have locations in New York, LA, and Vancouver. You may be familiar with some of our shows such as Big Mouth, Star Trek Lower Decks, Midnight Gospel. We also do short animated projects and music videos, such as the Area 21 music videos that were currently being released. Director of those, Jeremy Polgar, had a Lightbox panel yesterday, so we should be uploading that to YouTube I think after the expo. And before we get started, I just want everyone to take what I'm sharing today with a grain of salt, because it might not be relevant to another company or recruiter, but it's based off my experience as a freelance artist looking for work, as well as a director hiring my own teams, and as a Titmouse recruiter. The biggest thing to understand is that the animation industry is a skill-based industry. So operating on the assumption that all hiring managers, 99% of the time, are looking for someone to help them solve a problem. And so, you know, whether it be design, animation, storyboards, we're looking for a solution, and you are it. Maybe you've asked, what do you need to get a job in animation? Skill-based. Maybe you've seen this meme and can relate, where entry-level positions are, you know, having job requirements of X years of experience, and the subtext, not always understood, is that skilled relevant artwork equals work experience for most entry-level positions. Obviously, if we're looking for a supervisor, work experience is definitely required. Cool. And work experience can be a personal project, homework assignment from school, something you do with your friends. Does not necessarily mean that, okay, hold on. Seems like, are people not seeing it? Okay, no, great. It has started. Okay, great. Cool. Rolling back. Yes. Something, okay. Some technical difficulties. If you are on the Lightbox site, I have sent the link to the chat where you guys should be able to join us. Yes, okay, sorry. So hopefully that works out. Sorry for the confusion. If anybody's on Lightbox or Discord in the community, please share that link for everybody. Yeah, all right, cool. Where am I? Okay. Skilled artwork equals work experience. So it does not have to be paid work. It does not have to be an internship. It can be personal project, homework assignments, something you do with your friends, because somebody with 5 years of experience animating on a show like Big Mouth might not have the skills to animate on a show like Castlevania. But someone who's practiced anime for years on their own with no formal college education or experience, based in a country outside of the United States, or Japan can get a job on a show like Castlevania, and stuff like that has happened. Titmouse hires artists from all over the world. If you can draw real good, you can get a job. Sometimes you'll have awesome people donating their time to mentor, uplift, give young artists an opportunity to grow. One of our producers, Drew Tolman, created the Producers Pool, dedicated to helping people break into their industry. I, along with many other amazing industry people, volunteer our time and mentor for nonprofits like Women in Animation, Rise Up, Latinx, Animations, Black and Animated. Our Titmouse co-founder, Shannon Pernosky, wants to start a nonprofit to give marginalized artists grants to get equipment, take classes, but can't count on those because it's kind of like winning the lottery and there's only so many people donating their time. So overall, hiring managers want to find someone that will help their team meet a deadline, deliver a product. So that requires you to develop the skills to meet those needs. Maybe you've heard of the notion, oh, you need to know someone to get into the industry. And while yes, knowing people can certainly help, I've also seen well-connected people get their portfolio put at the top of the stack and not get the job because they don't have the skill. So remember, if you're applying to an artistic position, make sure you have relevant examples of artwork on an easy access online portfolio, doesn't matter the platform, and your email address on whatever platform you choose in a copy and pasteable format. You don't want us to type in your email around and for that email to bounce, never reach you. Don't make us use contact forms. Resume is not as important for artistic roles, but a nice to have. However, it is required for production roles. So if you want to be a production assistant, also editors really like resumes for that. Anyway, once more, for the love of all things animated, remember to include your email. Don't make us dig for it. Unless you're some big shot director who's getting spammed by internet trolls because of some project you worked on, you know, if you're looking for work, you should have your email accessible. If you're using Twitter, right in the bio, Instagram, bio, Behance. I like it under your name here, like little subtitle, very high up on the page. Tumblr, bio, website. I also like that it's under the header, you know, so no matter what page I navigate to, it's right there. I copy and paste it. It's great. If you have a video reel, make sure that you, yes, include it in their title card, but include it copy and pastable format in your description. Again, don't want me to type it wrong. Keywords, easy access, easy to see your work and easy to contact you. You don't want the lack of access to be the reason you don't get the opportunity, don't get the job. So do not ask for permission to share your portfolio or resume. If you're reaching out to a recruiter on LinkedIn, social media, through email, always include your portfolio immediately, because what if you ask for permission and we never respond? There's just, you know, like you're in this weird limbo. So make sure that portfolio links in there, and it can give us a reason to respond. We'd be like, wow, great work. I want to keep you in my database, you know? So just in case, you can also update your email signature to include your portfolio and social links, so it's always going to be sent out. Is your work password protected? If you're applying on our website or writing to a hiring manager directly via private communications, just include that password immediately. Don't make us ask for it. And on any given opportunity, you will likely get one chance, one glance to catch someone's attention. Maybe I'll open your message on LinkedIn. If I don't see any work, probably won't respond. So everything ready to go. Also, spam filters. I don't know if you need to do this with all other studios, but Titmouse has a .net email address, and that triggers some spam filters. Some artists have responded too late because of the spam filter. So just add us to your email whitelist. You can Google how to whitelist email in whatever provider you're using, Google, Hotmail, whatever. I have noticed it's particularly bad with Hotmail inboxes. Just get a Gmail. Yeah. All right. So how to format your portfolio for easy access. If you are a character designer, for example, right? Like essentially the answer to can you do X character design is all on the first page we see. And not any kind of like loading page, not any fancy, you know, like here's an image, here's an about me. The first thing that loads in our laptop screen or computer monitor, is it all there? So Microsurf is one of my favorite examples because it's just a very short, clearly designed, concise page. Title of her name at the top. The skill sets are clearly just like named. So like I can see this site and say, oh, she can do characters. That's probably her main thing because that's her landing page. She can do prop designs and effects designs. She's got some comics, she's got story, so probably storyboards as well. And that's all clear. And at the very top, her production quality artwork. So let's pretend you've never worked in the industry before. Doesn't matter. Create production quality turns for character designs as a personal project. Here's an example of what they look like. And you just want to do a curated, like best of, you know, some poses you're really proud of. A lot of our cartoons or, you know, TV animated shows out there is lined artwork, right? So can you do clean lined artwork? This is all saying yes, yes, she can. Great. So here's your answer to the question already. She can do it. And then she also has some personal projects to show me like, oh, this is what she's excited about. She's got some other styles that shows some range, and followed by her figure drawing, the foundation. Foundation is key. Generally, any art director can kind of like see your foundation skills in your designs, but sometimes, you know, it's not always clear. So if you have that foundational skill, make sure you showcase it on your site. All very clear in this one single page. It's not that long, right? And this is easy access portfolio formatting at its finest. All right. Cool. Here's an example of great talent, great skill, not the best portfolio for animation. This is my friend Danny Schwartz. He started as an illustrator before landing his first job on an animation show a couple of years ago. But when I brought this portfolio up to creative directors, the doubts that start coming up include, can he design for animation? This paintwork is too complicated. We need someone who can design for animation production in mind. If I was not in the room to say, wait, no, Danny has worked in animation before and help them navigate to the page with relevant artwork, they would have dismissed Danny and moved on. So help me help you by making it easy for me to sell you to the team, because I cannot be in the room with every producer, art director, or hiring manager when they're reviewing portfolios. Then some additional like issues that came up is when we even navigate to the page that's not clearly titled, because when I see animation, I'm thinking, oh, he's an animator. He's not, he wants a design. So clearly state your desires in your page titles. Thumbnails are cropped off. And some of his best work or funniest designs are not there or not immediately visible. Like, look at this guy. I love this design, but it's not like just immediately there when you see it. So think about that when you're formatting your site. Here's another example of great talent. And Sammy has stylistic range, but that's not immediately obvious when we go to her site. So at the top, we see some great adult comedy characters. You definitely want to show your actual production experience if you have it, but curating is really important. Sammy applied for a job that wanted Marvel DC style character design. I looked at her site, or I glanced at the site, scrolled through a couple of these images, and I moved on. Dismissed her at first, right? Turns out Sammy does have examples of Marvel characters. They were just buried at the bottom of her site. Recruiters, producers, hiring managers are very busy. We go through hundreds of portfolios every day, so we don't spend a lot of time on each, which is why immediate impressions of portfolios are super important. That's why I like broad view portfolio layouts. You land on this page with Bridget Orr, prop designer, immediately get a broad view of different styles and range. If you're interested in prop design, you will also need to do model turns for props. Vehicles are a huge part of prop designers' jobs. Here's some examples from Kyle Bowman. Can you do different styles? Showcase it. Here's a vector style, no line art, right? If you're looking for practice assignments, prop designers are often given just a rough storyboard doodle to ask to design the object. So you could look up animatics from your favorite shows, grab a cool shot, design a prop from it, from that loose sketch. And this kind of assignment also applies to background design. It can just apply to background character designers. So like if you are entry level, you want to get a job, you're probably an assistant character designer, you're designing background characters, not the heroes. So you can grab, those rough storyboards, check out the background characters and design things off that. Okay, another thing that I get requests for prop designers is prop designers with graphic design sensibilities, which is like typography, banners, food packaging, billboards, cassette tapes. If you have some graphic design sense, not everybody does, find a way to showcase it in relevant animation artwork. Like some amazing character designers are actually terrible graphic designers and can't format their stuff nicely. So if you have that ability and you're good at it, showcase it. I do want to take a moment to let everyone know about the reality of animation production staffing needs. Any show, biz dev artists, creative thinkers, and painters probably hired in small quantities and short periods of time, followed by maybe 2 to 4 character and prop designers, 5 to 10 background artists, 1 to 2 colorists, and then maybe 20 board artists, 30 animators, 5 compositors, 2 to 5 editors. Of course, those numbers change depending on the show, complexity. If you have a show about cars, obviously you're gonna need a lot of prop designers and a lot of people good at car designs, right? But I will say that competition for character design and biz dev is steep. It's one of the most popular career choices. I think Lightbox is probably very popular for biz dev artists. Not to discourage you at all, because animation is booming and we do need new talent, but it makes showcasing your ability clearly and concisely all the more important. And if you don't already have the basic foundational skills developed, aka anatomy, perspective, digital painting skills, I'm sorry, but that entry-level position is going to be difficult to land. Moving on, backgrounds. If you enjoy working on backgrounds, Animation Pipeline splits it out to background design and layout and BG Paint. You don't have to do both. If you're excited about figuring out perspective, set dressing, composition, background design or layout is probably your jam. You don't have to be good at coloring to do it. Remember that most BGs in animation are either lined or vector. Some might have a textural style to it. Lots of advanced background artists also can use these gray tones to develop a sense of atmosphere and depth. Can you design sets that are believable and appealing, appropriately decorated to tell the story? You look at this image, you can know that it's probably a hat maker's workshop because of the set dressing. And also, can you use 3D softwares like Blender, Maya, and SketchUp? Because if you can, you best show this process work on your site. It's very, very, we like it. We want it. If you have it, let us know. All right, background painters or colorists. You should be able to showcase multiple options for a design, like daytime, nighttime, different palettes. You need to have a great understanding of not only color, but lighting and shadows. Here's some examples of a color stylist, which they're not always in charge of creating the line art, but they do set the colors. You'll get a background. Here's your characters. Now color these characters in a palette that matches your environment. What do the shadows look like? You know, different shows handle like rim light or shadows, or they don't have those, you know, so all those skill sets showcased on your show, on your website. Great. And also, I really like more information labeling your work. Labeling your work and letting us know this kind of stuff kind of communicates like organization and communication skills. So it's a nice to have. This artist likes to like say like, okay, this I did the line work and the coloring and the texture, whereas this I didn't do the line work, but I did the color, you know, so that's great. And also some studios will require weird things like we're gonna do all the backgrounds and the characters designed in Flash. So if you've had that experience and you can do that, please let us know in your resume or your website. Another nice portfolio example, this format's more for experienced people, or if you are someone that can hit different range or styles, you can format it this way too. Sometimes producers or production will be like, hey, I need to find artists that can create artwork like the Fungies, like Invincible, like Steven Universe. So when I'm searching, I might be looking for people that have done stuff in those worlds or on those shows. And if you're a brand new artist, what you can do is some personal projects inspired by whatever show, hashtag that show. Make sure you're also hashtagging like it's fan art, it's personal stuff, you know, and that way we'll be able to find you on social media. Great. Storyboard artists, Sarah Vittori is one of my favorites. Not so much this introduction part, you know, take it or leave it. But I love that this is your curated best of on her front page. Like obviously there's a ton more of work on additional storyboards, but best of first. So if you want to be a storyboard artist, click through boards. Click through boards are a must. There are different platforms that you can use. She is using something called Speaker Deck. I think I prefer this over LinkedIn's, whatever LinkedIn tool is. So Speaker Deck, think about it. You can just Google. But what we need to evaluate is your sense of continuity, how everything flows together, camera work. Are you respecting, you know, like the location of your person of interest, your focus? So all of that can be figured out on the click through boards. Once we're like, yeah, we get it, you can do it. I like having these broad views so that I can just get through your story quicker instead of clicking through all of them. So that's great. Also, storyboard artists, all the great ones, practice in their own time telling stories that are just in like 4 to 8 frames. So I like that she showcases not just long stories, but short stories as well. And also, if you like to do character design or concept art, you have some thumbnails that you are proud of, that you want to showcase your thought process, that's where this gallery thing is really nice because it's all packaged together. I don't have to like navigate away from your board page to this other character design page, to this other background design page, look at your other artwork. It's just all together, packaged neatly in this one story project that you've done. And of course, foundational artwork, anatomy, perspectives, all of that. This is not a very long page. It's curated. It's nice. I like it. Great. I will also say like animatics, people wonder about animatics, and I will let you know, like, if you're not a good timer, like if you can't time the animatics well and it's not got like nice sound design, don't include it. The click-through boards are more than enough. I've seen some story portfolios where it was only the animatic and no storyboards, and the animatic was poorly timed, and I couldn't get through it, so I moved on. So don't make animatics the only way to check out your work. You can also, some additional suggestions are like, you can like, if you do different styles, like this is my drama style, this is my action style, comedy, suggestions. So I will say that on the subject of animatics, animatic editor is a job and a lucrative one. And not everyone who has the patience to be a storyboard artist or an animator can do those jobs. But like, if you love story and you love timing, you can still be involved with story in Animatic Editor. What we're looking for is understanding of film language, continuity, visual storytelling, knowing how to set up scenes in Premiere or After Effects. Premiere's the main thing though. Can you set it up from like drawn boards, sequences, images, and string them all together? Can you cut up boards, animate characters or props in the scene, like a car driving across the street, you know? And can you record scratch dialogue with appropriate performance, design the scratch sound, adding sound effects like explosions or lightning at the appropriate moments? How do you get examples for an animatic editor portfolio? Well, if you've gone through a 4U animation program, it's probably like requiring you to make a thesis film, and then you have everything, all the skills you need to cut an animatic. This is relevant experience to apply for an entry-level position as an assistant editor or assistant animatic editor. If you didn't go to college, and college is certainly not necessary or required, you can team up with some good storyboard artists to edit together their story. Ask the pros already working in the industry if you can cut together their boards, design a sound for it, use resources like freesound.org or YouTube to find sound effects. Great. In the interest of time, I'm not going to show you these samples, but you can just Google animatic reel and find some samples. If you're an animator, and the genetic makeup of any video reel relevant to 2D animation, 3D animation, modeling, VFX, yada, yada, start with a short title card, which includes your name, your focus, email address, then your very best work at the front. Curation, right? Doesn't have to be professional work, just the best, quality over quantity, curate it because you will be judged by your weakest project, and including weak work on your portfolio makes us start to doubt you as a candidate. You don't want employers to doubt your ability. We start thinking like, are you inconsistent? Do you only have good work because you're heavily coached through the assignment? Do you not have good judgment on what's good or bad? Why the heck did you include this, right? So I'm just saying, like, start curating your reel, your portfolio. One amazing project on a reel can land you the job. So don't feel like you have to fill in the time. All right. Remember to label your shots, describe what you're responsible for, what software you use, because at this point, like, animators can be like Toon Boom Animator, Flash Animator, TV Paint, you know, so it's great for us to know outright. And if you've worked in a group project, you know, and you were only responsible for one part, let us know which part you were responsible for. One thing I want to remind young animators and recent grads is make sure you have at least one completed shot, like a finished, fully colored animation, because I see a lot of student reels that are just rough animation. Nothing's completed, nothing's clean up. As a junior animator, you're likely not going to be hired to do the rough key animation for a project. You're probably going to be hired as a cleanup artist, someone who might just color the animation. So make sure your reel isn't just rough animation, unless you're doing professional animated quality stuff, which, like, if you can do great animated tie downs or keys, then fuck it, you'll get work, you know. Like, if you're not a great animator yet, but you can draw clean lines, try finding rough animation from professionals, clean it up. It's a great practice assignment. You can learn a lot from it. Just make sure you give credit. All right. AE compositors. Breakdowns are super important for AE compositors. Show the raw animation that you get from animators, and then how you make it pretty. Color editing, light blooms, vignettes, little particle effects. Are you adding, you know, these like parallax, or are you animating some like graphics? motion graphics. Some compositors can also do these action effects, graphic bits, action lines, fight scene effects. So if you can, let us know and let us know what you were responsible for if you did do it. Great. If you are in the business of making things move, then on your website, you can and should implement GIFs. I and my supervisors have been guilty of skipping around on a reel. We might miss a great shot if we skip through your reel. So having a website where like all of these GIFs are just immediately available and visible, it's like, again, bam, broad view of everything you can do. Making GIFs has never been easier with easygifs.com, not sponsored, but they should. All right. You can upload any MP4 or MOV. You can even upload, like existing GIF onto this website and control frame rates, compression, cropping, etc. It's so awesome. It's made my life much easier to make GIFs. In the subject of production assistant, because I hear a lot of people saying like, God, the only way to get in is PA, get a PA job, get a PA job. And I'm gonna say the only way to get in is not a PA job. You don't need a PA job to get into an art role. And I don't generally recruit for production because producers are gonna be the one that knows best what they want. However, if you're interested in entry level roles, production roles, AKA PA, production assistant, know that you have to cater your resume to this position. And I mean, you should always cater your application to the position you're applying for, but with PA jobs, understand that you're hired to help take notes, manage schedules, set up meetings, hand out assignments, update assets lists, keep track of production, right? So find that relevant production experience that caters to this. And again, it doesn't have to be an internship or a paid job. It could mean maybe you were the producer of a school project. Like you're the one that came up with the schedule, made sure that the notes document was kept up to date. It could be a non-art job where you were hired to file or organize papers, manage database for a school or something like that. Maybe you helped a friend with their YouTube channel or podcast by scheduling interviews. Find that production relevant experience in your life that speaks to the ability of a PA, because you're being hired for that job. You're not being hired to like one day be an artist, And if it's department specific, PA position like Storyboard PA, and you know how to use Storyboard Pro, then yes, that's relevant to include in your resume. Other things producers are looking for are soft skills, because you're working with lots of different people, different personalities, and having good social skills is super important. While the cover letter is not important necessarily to art positions, it's much more relevant to production. So try to give your personality across, make the employer feel like they can trust you to help make their lives easier. And one thing just like to think about, the PA position is super competitive. Like in 5 days, we had 800 applicants for one PA position. So guess what? People actually interested in production applying with production relevant application is going to get the job over someone that's just applying with their biz dev portfolio. At the end of the day, if you want to land that coveted position, you're being hired for that job. Even if you want to switch to department later, make sure you do that job well. Don't burn bridges. Okay, great. Easy access portfolio. You got your email address. How can you get a hiring manager to notice you? Let me introduce you to the attention grabber 9000, trademarked. Great. What is the attention grabber? It is an unobtrusive way to force a hiring manager to immediately see carefully curated sample of your work, 1 to 4 images at most. Goal is to entice them to spend a few more minutes to look through the rest of your site. Opportunities come in many different places, whether it's on Twitter, email, or job, websites. Knowing where to place the attention grabber is key. So when you reach out to studios or producers, art directors, creatives that could potentially help you land a job, do not send emails like, oops, Do not send emails like this. Basically, we get a lot of these, no information about yourself, no portfolio, most likely ignored because I get 200 emails a day. So don't do this. But let me introduce you to the OG attention grabber, Mr. Drew Shields. He reached out when I was still directing at a studio called Nathan Love. I had no intention of checking out his portfolio. I was really busy. I just wanted to get rid of an unread email notification in my inbox. I opened up his email and boom, I see this cool ass GIF in the email and I was like, damn, immediately intrigued. He's got my attention. Went and scoured his portfolio website, even though I had other tasks on my plate and I wasn't looking to hire a looked up artist, right? So that is the attention grabber. That is a successful attention grabber at work. Let's also break down why this email is great. And here's a template on like what you should be using for your future outreach emails. Subject line includes the position you want, whether it's biz dev artist, animator, character designer. Simple cover letter, 2 to 3 sentences. If you have previous experience, you can name drop it there. Oops. And link to your portfolio. Of course, followed by the attention grabber. GIF or an image of your best work you think relevant to the position you're applying for. And the reason the subject line is super important is because I might not have the job for you when you email me, but maybe I remember you because of your GIF, but not your name. I'm going to search in my inbox, position I need to fill, right? So that might be like character designer. And if you've emailed me with this character designer phrase in your subject line, your email is going to pop up. So with Drew, he emailed us when we weren't looking for looked up artists, but I was like, this is amazing work. We don't have work for you right now. Please keep in touch. 6 months later, he emailed me again. He had a new GIF. He had new work on his site. He was like, check it out. Let me know if you're hiring. Wonderful. Still didn't have work for him. And then another 6 months go by. This time he emailed with a different subject title, AE Compositor available for work. I checked it out. Really great project that he did in his own time, showing great passion, great skill, composited everything in After Effects. And lo and behold, our go-to After Effects guy was not available. And that's that golden window of opportunity to try new artists. So finally I was like, yes, Drew, I can finally hire you. You're first on our list. So grab that studio's attention. If they respond and say things like, wow, great work, keep in touch. Keep updating your portfolio, check in every 6 months or so, maybe less if you see a like job listing you're actually really, you think you'd be really good fit for and you've got relevant artwork for, and keep applying to studios all over, big and small. When I first started at Titmouse, I posted this on Twitter as an open call for portfolios. And this is a fantastic opportunity to get not only my eyes on your work, but other hiring managers. I've had Nickelodeon producers confirm, yes, they're snooping on my threads for talent. And I've also been instructed by my bosses to snoop on another studio's talent thread for talent. So make the most out of these opportunities. Here are some people that responded to my thread without the attention grabber. Nothing's really drawing the eye, and if there's hundreds of responses, it might be really easy to skip past unintentionally. Here are the people that did use an attention grabber. On Twitter, you can upload 4 images, and it creates this nice little grid, broad view of your work. They've got their website, email address, what they do, and a cool hack for like storyboard artists or animators. This one person, she created a single video, but she scaled down 4 projects in After Effects and rendered it out. So it kind of mimics the 4 project grid, but it's just one video. And that's wonderful. So take a moment, if you have a website, to also go into your settings, and there should be like the social image settings where you can upload an image, so that when you share your website on social media, you get this nice image to go with it. And if you don't do that, this is what it looks like, right? So just real quick, real simple. If you are applying to our website on our job platform, make sure that in the current company box, if you have relevant animation experience, to include it there. I've seen people that say unemployed or not working at the moment, but they've worked at Pixar, they've worked at Titmouse or whatever, like that's really relevant, right? And that can grab the attention of whoever's reviewing 1,000 portfolios. So like, for example, I would have said, okay, current company, I'm not working at any of these, but here's my previous experience, Nathan Loves at Pixar, right? So if you've never had work experience, but you've gone to a pretty popular or famous animation school like CalArts or Sheridan, you can also put it in current company. If you volunteer and help out organizations like Rise Up or Women in Animation, that's also really great to include, and that is relevant in experience. Those things are more relevant than Starbucks, right? So I'm not saying we're not hiring people that work at Starbucks. I'm just saying use the relevant stuff first, right? Okay, LinkedIn, use it. There are two different ways to use LinkedIn. I will say there's the social media way, and then there's the resume recruiter way. Social media is like you're sharing your new project, you're sharing a project you just finished on and got released, whatever. Like you want to make sure that you're constantly putting yourself out there, and the visibility on LinkedIn is really wonderful. It is really, really good. So make sure that you are, if you're looking for work, just sharing work, you know, because like you should be practicing every day anyway. And then the other function is resume recruiter. So like you're keeping your resume updated, whatever experience you get, you're detailing it correctly, you're titling that experience correctly, and you have your website and contact information on there. So one thing I didn't realize until I became a recruiter is that there's a specific place for you to put your website and email for recruiters to access. So when we're using a tool called LinkedIn Recruiter, we're seeing a summarized view of your profile, and we don't see your featured posts. So if you don't have your website and email address in this little, like you click this pencil button in your profile, you got this contact information little square, you got to update it there. If you don't have it there, we're not going to see it in LinkedIn Recruiter. This is what the like summary view looks like from LinkedIn Recruiter. Actually, putting it at the top of your summary is helpful. It's nice. I would recommend that. And also, when I'm searching for candidates, I'll search 2D animator, Harmony animator, 3D modeler, right? And if that word or phrase isn't in the title of your previous job experience, you might not show up. So freelance artist is not helpful, but 3D generalist or 2D animator is much more helpful. Game the system, use it correctly. And yeah, if you don't put your website in that like place, it's not going to show up in the personal information tab. All right, social media. Let me tell you the story of Chase. Chase Trotto, very talented character designer. He's working on us on our Beavis. He's working for us on our Beavis and Butthead production. So he was already on our radar when we were planning, but then everyone got really busy and overwhelmed with like the 10,000 names of character designers. And we almost forgot about Chase. But then Chase did this personal project all on his own, shared it on LinkedIn, it popped up on my feed, and just in the nick of time, I was like, oh shit, Chase, did we hire him yet? Social media is a great way to remind the world of your work because there's so many people out there and we're bound to lose track. That's where that like luck and timing thing of getting a job comes into play. So make sure you're utilizing social media correctly. All right, wrapping up some closing words of wisdom. Figure out what you're most excited about. I started out as a 3D artist, got an internship at Pixar, was working for some pretty huge 3D animation companies in New York when I realized I didn't like 3D. I didn't like the like technical part of being a 3D artist, like lighting. I want to paint a pretty picture. I don't want to wait for the program to render my image for me. So that was when I realized I had to make a shift to the 2D industry and revamped my portfolio, created new pieces relevant to the field of work I wanted to be in. Yeah, and then I got a job. So we hear, you know, people, they're like, oh, I've been storyboarding for 10 years, but I want to do this other thing, right? But they don't do the work necessary to give them the job. In our studio, 10 people can say, I want to try storyboarding for the first time in a production setting. And 5 people won't have storyboard examples, but 5 people will. Guess what? Those 5 people are going to get the shot, right? So you always have to prove yourself. And then the other thing is, I was never a recruiter prior to working at Titmouse. And I got the job like a week after I applied. Like I got the interview like a day after I applied. And that's because I curated my portfolio and my resume to the position, right? I was like, yes, I've never been a recruiter before, but I've been a director and I've reviewed portfolios. I've found artists. I've recruited them for my own projects. That is immediately relevant to recruiting. And I showcased all of those skills, right? Like my nonprofit work at WIA, where I've been helping people connect them to studios, networking, yada. So that's all relevant experience to recruiting, and showcased it, and I got the job. So figure out your goals, what you want, think about what the employer needs from their employee, and try to like, see like, yes, I can do it. I can make your life easier. Breaking in is hard. It can take anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half to 3 years or more. And I've known multiple people that couldn't find work for years. Now they're art directors. So keep trying, keep updating your portfolio, improving your skills. For some people in this audience, you've already got the skills. It's just a matter of timing and luck. So keep putting yourself out there, sharing your work on social media, tagging appropriately, using LinkedIn, sending those emails with the searchable keywords in your subject lines. Keep trying, you got this. For many others, if you have not put the time into learning the foundational skills of realistic anatomy, perspective, color theory, before you stylize your characters or scenes, no amount of portfolio formatting will help. Animation is a skill-based industry. You've got to put in the time to build those basics first, and it takes years to learn. In the wise words of the Undertaker, the toes you step on your way to the top are connected to the asses you're gonna have to kiss on the way back down. So that means no matter how big you get, no matter how small you are, how you treat other people could be the reason you gain or lose opportunities. Your fellow classmates, teachers, colleagues can one day be the reason you get a job or don't get the job. How you treated your team as a director could be the reason you can no longer find work in the industry. So just be nice, you know? All right, connect with us. We've been targeted by job scammers before, so remember that all official job posts are on our website, titmouse.net careers. It'll link to some platform called Lever. And all official work inquiries or interviews will be set up with a titmouse.net email account. And remember, if you're tuning in late, spam filters might filter out our titmouse.net email, so just whitelist us. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I share job postings all the time. Follow me for live updates. I post relevant information whenever possible. When I'm like, whether I'm looking for adult comedy or anime, you'll know it, and you can apply with relevant artwork. If you have any questions, write in the chat box, and I will answer them in the time that we have left. All right, stop screen share. Hi, everybody. Cool. Hi. Okay, so many chats. Hello, everyone. And there's a lag, so let's see. Any questions? Okay, while I wait for some questions, there was one thing that I wanted to answer. I hear this question a lot, is like jack of all trades versus focused track, right? Like, should I be a generalist or should I just focus on one thing? Here's the thing. I hear a lot of people, okay, sorry, backtracking. Being a jack of all trades is hard. Being good at more than one thing is super hard. So like most of the time, artists can't be a good generalist. That's not saying that it's not possible. I've met so many, and actually Titmouse really loves jack of all trades, because we do so many different styles that if you can do more than one thing, you have a higher chance of staying employed with us and with long-term employment. So that's something unique to Titmouse. Like at studios like Pixar, you're probably not going to have the opportunity to jump around different departments. Okay, so it kind of depends on the studio and what they're looking for. And I would say that if you're still learning foundational skills, focus on the one thing you're best at. Get into a place where you're industry ready before you branch out to something else. Cool. All right, seeing some questions now. Let's see. Is it recommended to stick to using Toon Boom Storyboard Pro if you want to get into storyboarding? I would say yes. I would say Storyboard Pro has become the industry standard, but I've also heard of recent, storyboard artists and directors working at major studios that were still using Photoshop. So definitely learn it. It's so much better and it will save you time. So learn it if you want to be a storyboard artist. Okay, does Titmouse often accept freelancers outside of North America? Yes, we do. At this point, all of our artists are remote. We hire from Canada, from Mexico, from Brazil, from France, so we do hire outside of North America. Again, if you are applying from outside of America, though, the skill level is much higher. We are looking for people that are exceptional, right? Otherwise, if it's somebody that's more junior and we have to mentor and oversee more, we're looking for locals. Okay, should portfolios include process of artwork for all of them or just some? I don't think you need to do all of it. Again, curating it, right? Just do, I would say, if all of my artwork and projects, I don't have fantastic process work for all of them. So just choose the ones that are best. Are storyboard artists supposed to limit the subject matter they tackle in their portfolio? No, I would say not, but just focus on the thing that you're good at. And if you're like, I love adult comedy, but I also fucking love horror, do it, showcase it, and then just label it that this is a different genre. Okay, let's see. Do you have any recommendations for storyboard artists who haven't worked in the industry yet? I'm already making lots of cartoons with my writing partner. What else can I do? I think the personal projects is really key and showcasing it. And if you're uploading, if you've never worked in the industry before, and even if you have, the quality of the personal project is all the more important, right? If you're working in the industry, time, schedule, your stuff might look like chicken scratch. And that's okay if you have the storytelling, visual storytelling skills. But if it's just personal stuff, make it look pretty, implement the cinematic or you can utilize the tones, make sure it's your best of, showcase that. Quality high, but I feel a lot of production examples are more loose due to many revisions that we have to do. All right, let's see. Oh goodness. How do you feel about sending recruiters thank you emails after watching their talks, just like this one? Yeah, I love hearing that feedback. Definitely. And if you've gotten a job after meeting with me or interviewing with me and you're really happy, let me know too, because I also love hearing those success stories. I don't always get to see everyone that gets hired after I've forwarded them. So yeah, okay, let's see. With 2D animation, can you have some rough animation, some complete animation? How complete should each piece be? Yes, definitely. I would just say lead with your best of. And if your best of is anime roughs, good anime roughs, you can lead with that, obviously. But if not, make it a completely colored or completely cleaned up line art. And then you can include some roughs. Let's see. My first application got me a test, but I never got a response to any inquiries about the test or even a follow-up that they got the test. How often should I follow up? Is this normal? Okay, yeah. So definitely, if you've gotten the test and you've submitted it, follow up like in a week, in 2 weeks. And if they've never responded after 2 weeks, maybe like at the 1 month mark, just be like, hey, I'd love to have some feedback if you have time for it, even if I didn't pass. I will say that some tests have gotten lost. Like I went on vacation and my producer went on vacation, and it just like 400 emails after I got back from vacation, things get like lost sometimes. Or like if you're sending the test on a weekend, maybe I opened it accidentally and then I forgot it because it wasn't unread by the time I got back on Monday. So think about when you're sending those emails too. Like try to time it like at the mornings of a weekday instead of a weekend if you're sending materials for review. Okay, if you have years of experience, freelance work, but have an official job with an official company, how do you put on your resume to make it appealing for recruiters? So like definitely, like let's say you've gotten 5 jobs, freelance character design. Then your title on LinkedIn or your resume should be character designer. And then in the description of it, you can say freelance assignment for yada yada companies, or freelance assignments for what the kind of job is, what the style of it is. And then, yeah, we can then see that work on your website and see if it's up to par with the level we need. Okay, thoughts on having fan art or animation, fan animation in portfolios versus original work. It is okay to do fan art, but I will say that there is a line to draw between, you know, like smutty fan art and questionable fan art versus like, hey, I fucking love Steven Universe. Here's my redesign of it in this different style. Here's a high quality storyboard using Owl House characters, right? Like that is acceptable because you might not be a great character designer, but you're using great professional character designs and then utilizing it in a project for yourself to practice X, right? So that's how I would approach fan art. Okay, let's see. When creating a VizDev portfolio, what type of work do recruiters like to see most of? Yeah, I don't know. It really depends on the project. Probably VizDev is like, are you thinking about a story properly, right? Like, you always are working off of a prompt. So let's say your prompt is Asian American household, Chinese American household, right? And you're designing a house for it. You're VizDeving a house for it, VizDeving the props and whatever. Well, you better have done your research. And the people that don't do their research and they're VizDeving, we can tell, right? So it's thinking critically, thinking about the story behind it. And then, you know, there's also the foundation skills of like, what's your painting ability like? Are your brush strokes and color and lighting well, or are they kind of chicken scratchy and muddy, you know? So like foundation skills and then like the creative thinking behind it. And the great VizDev artists, they always have a very unique voice. And for the high level VizDev artists, they're always gonna get the jobs over the entry level, or like they're gonna get the offer. So like, hey, can you help us out, right? So your voice, your unique voice, thinking about the story and the prompt, and then technical skill. All right. If you're applying for 2D editor position, how do I signal that I have other skills in case the team is interested without seeming unfocused? Jack of all trades. Let's go back to the jack of all trades thing. You know, so it takes a long time to get good at one skill, right? So let's say you've gotten good at animating. The skills relevant to animation that are easy to learn as well is probably like rigging. You've probably rigged a character for yourself before to animate. That's great to show in a reel. That's very relevant. You've probably been able to composite your animation before. That's also really great, relevant. that's all nice to see in one section. And then probably, but going off of that, a lot of animators go into storyboarding too, and that could be a site on your, a page on your website, right? And I've also seen animators go into character design because they're great at posing, anatomy, stuff like that. So whatever the main thing that you're best at, think about, you know, the things that are relevant that can help you in a production or help a studio out on the production, and build off of that. And again, like with Micah's portfolio, she has her main focus on her front page, the home page, and then she has it clearly titled prop design, storyboards, and that just showcase range. Okay, let's see. Could I use storyboards based on another TV show, scripts and characters? Yep, answered. And do you know typically when I'd be able to use production art in my portfolio after the project ends? All right, so NDAs, password protected work, is kind of an industry standard. And, you know, obviously don't make it shareable. If you're applying directly to a recruiter, applying directly to a producer that is specifically hiring for a job, password protected work could be a way to showcase your production artwork if it's not released yet. But again, just, you know, you signed an NDA, so be aware, you know, that you're taking a risk of that. But it's also kind of industry standard. Okay, let's see. Tips for interviews. Have a line producer one coming up. Ooh, yeah, line producer interviews. If you're interviewing for a line producer position, some questions I like to ask for producers, because we're trying to gauge your personality, right? Is we get into specifics like what's a problem that happened in a production, how did you solve it? So always thinking about showcasing your ability and you know, responsibility as somebody that can solve problems, keep productions moving along. Okay, let's see. Do you know typically when I'd be, oh, sorry, that was, okay. If you're self-employed, should you use your DBA name as your current company, or is that deceptive? Depends on if your own company has good skills. It's not deceptive. Like it's true that you probably started an LLC and you're doing work or getting freelance gigs through that. So it's not deceptive. If it's not recognizable, it might not help, but it's not going to hurt, right? Okay. Is more questionable adult artwork make it difficult for someone to be hired for animation for younger audiences? It really depends on the person that's reviewing. I would say no, right? Like, but some people might have different like personal beliefs. And I would say if you're applying for pre-K, maybe not. But you know, like I have some friends who just have specific unlisted pages curating, like here's some pre-K work, here's some adult work, here's some action comedy work or whatever, and they will just apply with that specific page. Yeah, so that could be a way around it. Cool. Well, those seem to be all the questions, and it is at the 1 hour mark. Thank you guys so much for joining me and watching this talk today. I hope you've learned something. I hope it's been helpful. Yeah, and good luck out there. If you haven't, I should have portfolios from the Lightbox Expo database, and I will be reviewing those soon. So yeah, reach out, connect with me on Twitter, and I hope we'll be able to work with you guys someday. Great. Bye.